welcome to third grade. So we're going to be doing a social studies lesson today. And just so y'all know where we're at, we just completed a unit on North America, South America, and Europe. So everyone knows we kind of been studying different cultures and everything that entails. So the next slide is going to have several pictures of the new place that we are traveling to, and I want to see if y'all can figure out where we're going just by looking at these pictures. And if you think you know, just raise your hand and we'll talk about it. Where do you think we're going, Charlie? Africa, yes. So we have different pictures of cities and deserts. We have some of their marketplaces and some of their music. So these are just a few of the different things we'll be studying as we talk about Africa. And to get us started, we have some African sweet potato cookies. Now, my American baking skills are not A1 yet, so my African cooking skills need some help. But if you would like to try them, we can pass them around. They are pretty tasty. I tried them last night. But feel free to try those. And we're going to read a little bit out of this book called The Village of Round and Square Houses. And it is a true story about a girl who grew up in a village in Central Africa. So as we read, I want you to think about what some of these things, how they're a little different from what we do here, or maybe you do some of these things where you live. So we'll read a little bit. It was not until I was almost full grown and left my village that I found our village was like no other. For the men lived in square houses and the women in round ones. To me, this seemed the natural order of things. But what is it like, you ask? I will tell you how it was, and is for me. I grew up on my grandmother's farm in the village of Tos. That lies at the foot of Naka Mountain in the Bimini Hills of West Africa. We planted yam and corn and tobacco and the finest coffee grown in the Cameroons. Our village was always happy and peaceful, a good place for any boy or girl to grow up. Every evening after a day of work in the fields, Uncle Domo and Grandpa Oma came to our brown house for supper. We children would hurry to put out the low wooden stool for Grandpa Oma, for he was the eldest and closer to the ancestor spirits. Then we would unroll the grass mat for Uncle Domo, the next oldest, as was only proper and respectful. And there they would sit proudly in their bright robes. Grandpa Oma above seated on his stool, hands on knees, and Uncle Domo seated below. Then they would ask to see the children. One by one we would come forward from the narrow doorway, and one by one we would be lifted to sit upon those high and bony knees. And Grandpa would ask each one of us, "What have you learned today?" We would squirm and make an answer, and wriggle off those sharp knees, and run to help Mama and Grandma Tika prepare the meal to come. Supper might be fish or rabbit or groundnut stew or yams. But always, I would be the one to pound and soften the white cassava root to make the fufu we eat at every meal. Then Mama would cook the fufu and beat it till it was white and fluffy, and she would pile the food into big bowls with round handles just right for our small hands to hold. Then we would march into the big round room, our bare feet gripping the earthen floor. The little ones went first, carrying a bowl of heated water and towels to wash the hands before and after eating. Then the older ones would carry in the stew, spicy and steamy, smelling oh so good, and I would come in last, bearing the fufu. Grandpa, as the eldest, would always eat first, dipping the first 3 fingers of one hand into the fufu, scooping up a small portion which he dipped quickly into the stew bowl, to flavor each bite with the spicy meat and juices. Then, in order of age, Grandma, Uncle Domo, and sometimes Mama, if she left the cook fire, would finish their meal in the same way, and we children would follow last, making sure to leave the bowl clean. So, from that portion that we read in the book, what's a little different than what we normally do? Did anybody pick up on anything?
They live in different kind of houses than we do.
Yeah, so the women lived in round houses and the men live in square houses. That's not something we normally see. Anything else?
They eat weird food.
They do eat weird food to us. And they eat in order of oldest to youngest. So the youngest people have to eat last. Anything else?
Is the old man the only one with a chair?
Yes. So the oldest man got to sit in the chair. And then the next to oldest man sat on the grass mat. Very good observation. One other thing I wanted to point out was when they were walking, it talks about how their feet were gripping the earthen floor. So their floor is dirt. Do we typically have dirt for our floors? No. So that's a little different. So those are just some of the things we'll be studying as we start our new unit going through Africa.